prepare a speech or anything, so I'm just going to basically tell everybody what's going on. A couple of months ago, it's been about 3 months now, I was out at the park and it was just sad. It was sad to see the condition that it's in, and it's too big of a project. I think everybody's just kind of sat back and it's just what you do. So I decided to take the reins on it, and it's a pretty epic project. We started a committee, and we have about 10 people that show up at all the meetings, and they're really involved, and we've put donation jars out at local businesses, and it's still we're taking tiny bites out of it. We've got some folks that have bought us, I think we're 30-40 gallons of paint. So our volunteers have been going out and painting, and since then I've contacted Luke and some of the other the probation and parole and Omagi, and they've agreed to send us community service people, which is great because these guys they need to get their hours done, and this is an opportunity. It provides an opportunity to do that, and it's something positive, and it's going to give them a positive look into the community, and because of what they're doing out there. And we've gotten a lot done, but there's a lot to do. Where we're at now, and I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag a little bit early on this. I have a conference call tomorrow with a gentleman that is in charge of the Union Sportsmen's Alliance, and what they are it's a conglomerate of sportsmen, fishermen, conservationists that are all parts of unions all across the country, and they have chapters, and there's one in Oklahoma City and one in Tulsa. And what they do is they have these massive fundraisers, and they bring these professional people in, welders, masons, electricians, carpenters, and they come in, they go around the country, and they rebuild parks. That's what they do. They build boat docks, picnic tables, the whole 9 yards. So we're all keeping our fingers crossed on that. I'll know more tomorrow. They have their meeting in the morning with our union reps, and the guy Forrest Parker is supposed to get back in touch with me. He's out of North Carolina, and so we're doing a conference call tomorrow afternoon with Jennifer and Ron Casey, and finding out what they need to know from us, what they're going to be allowed to do, what we need done, and then they're going to send their representatives here to check it out. And from what I understand, from what he's told me, that whenever they get a project and they find out what needs to be done and they get approved through their group, it happens before you know it. These guys are, they own major welding companies and different companies all over the country, and so they'll come in, they'll all fly in, they'll see what project needs to be done. They've been doing this a long time. They'll say, we need 20 guys, we need 2 masons, we need whatever we need. And they'll fly in 2 or 3 weekends in a row, and they come in and just knock it out. So I said, this thing, when it happens, it's going to happen fast, and it's going to be huge. And we have to find out what their budget is. Another group, Creek Nation. Creek Nation is 100%. They've contacted and said, we want to be part of this. The Chitto Memorial's out there. They want to preserve the memorial. They have a preservation team that goes around all the old Native American cemeteries, creek cemeteries that are kind of out in rural areas. They go out and preserve those, so that that's their thing. They go in and do the memorial preservations. So they're wanting whatever we want, but because they're a government entity, they can't work with the committee. They have to work with the city, and the city's 100% behind everything that we're doing. So a lot of fingers crossed, and we need people involved. We need people talking about this. We need donations. We need bodies. I think the bodies are coming. I think we've been good about. He said he's going to send us a lot of people. There's a lot of people here in town that can't afford the fines and stuff they get, so they get in this loop, and so this is a way to provide them a chance to give back to the community and pay their fines. So I think we're getting the help that we need. We just, like I said, we just need more community support and people calling saying, what can we do? There's things that I've not been able to do, like get a tax ID number. That's something that's very important. It's critical. We need to get that. I haven't had time. I've asked John Isabella, and he's agreed to look into it for us, but there's a lot of things like that we need help with. So if we can get the professional people of the community involved to get some of this stuff done, that would help tremendously. So does anybody have any questions?
Well, what are the sort of things you're doing physically to the...
Physically to the park right now, we've repainted like the entry gates, all the metal pipe gates, and kind of spruced those up. They were kind of rusted out, and so we've painted. We've been in the beach house. We've repainted the inside, covered a lot of the graffiti on the inside of the beach house we're working on, but that's a huge project.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been out there several weekends and still have a long way to go. I mean, we're not halfway done with the beach house, and we've still got the ceiling inside to go, and that's huge. So, been cutting out a lot of brush. I don't know if anybody has seen our Facebook page where we went out and we found the old arrowhead that was laid in the 30s. Whenever they were building the rock pads out there, it's like 7 feet long. And we went in and dug around it and remortared it and put river rock around it so it would stand out and people notice it. There's some really neat things out there that we're uncovering. We spent, I don't know, 2 weeks, probably 3 or 4 days a week out there with just shovels and wheelbarrows digging out dirt that's eroded and washed in over some of the rocks out there. And there's steps out there that everybody's like, I didn't know that was there. So it's kind of incredible the stuff that we're finding.
So where's the arrowhead at?
It is, at the beach house, the round steps. Okay, to the right of the beach house where that single picnic table is, right on the outside of it. And it's huge. It's like 7 or 8 feet tall.
I saw the picture. It's neat.
Yeah, and it's really neat.
Tell them about the roads, the archways that you're...
Okay, the Henryetta Lions Club has just approved to pay for these. The rock steps that go from the beach house up to the memorial parking lot. The riding club has agreed to pay for these and the roses to go on them.
Beautiful.
So we've been out spraying, and we're gonna, when I get some more help out there, we're gonna move the rocks and get all the old rocks put back in position.
So those will be located where now?
Over the stairway.
Wow. Well, that'd be
Go
cool.
on that, yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. And we've got several other ideas. I built some planter boxes on the front post. Got those ready to go. Got them painted, but it's going to take $250 to put flowers in them. And we're just getting nickels and dimes here and there. So we need somebody to step up and say, hey, do we want to do it, or we want to sponsor a fundraiser to get things like that done. I mean, there's several different smaller projects that we can break it down into. And I would like to see the riding club, since they're going to pay for the arches, to buy a plaque and say, these arches were paid for by Henryetta Riding Club. And whatever groups do, they can put their own plaque out there. And I think that would draw a lot of interest and get people involved more as well.
So once you plant stuff, who will maintain?
Well, that's we have the Henryetta Gardening Club, and a lot of people say Henryetta has a gardening club,
Yeah.
and we do. Tamara Duggar. Anything to do with the plants, I'd really like to get her involved. She's excited about it, and I think it's, instead of just an online discussion group, the Henryetta Gardening Club should be a proactive
Right.
entity in the community. And once we get these things going, they would do that. They would take care of those things. And what they weren't able to do, myself with the community service people would go out, we're going to be out there in July watering plants. I mean, it's got to be done. And right now the city doesn't have the funds to do all that, so it's going to take us to do that. And I'm willing to do my part, but I'm one person. Anybody else?
The old house that sits there that was the caretakers, is there any talk about refurbishing that?
There is. That's just going to be one of those things we're going to have to see with these groups that are getting involved. We can mention the Creek Nation and see. Bruce and I were talking earlier about a neat thing to do with it would make like a visitor center out of it, and have like a conference room in there. But the front of it would be open all the time with brochures and maps and historical. Maps on the walls and tell the history of the old trail to Topeka and the crazy snake rebellion and all the things that made Nichols Park significant, why it is what it is, where where it's at. And so, I mean, there's talk, but it's a matter of, that's a lot of funding to do something like that. Because it's pretty trashed. There's not much other than the stone structure that's going to be salvageable in it.
Do they lock the gates at night?
I've talked to several police officers, and they say they do. They lock the gates at night. When we put the planter boxes out, we covered up one of the chains that holds the gate back, and the next day, the planter box was pushed back, so I know that night it was locked. We've also discussed about getting in touch with the Walmart Foundation and seeing if they can do cameras, setting up the city cam type situation where if we had 4 or 5 cameras out there and people say, well, who's going to monitor it? Well, if you set up a city cam, somebody in Henryetta 24 hours a day is going to be watching it. Good or bad, they're going to know what's going on out there. And so there's several ideas out there, but this has all got it's funding. And yeah, there's a lot to it. And it's going to be a shame to go out there and do all this work and somebody go out there and trash it in one night. It's inevitable. It's going to happen, and I'm prepared for that. If they graffiti it, I'll be out there the next day covering it up. We'll just have to do it until we get cameras, but I think the more involved the community is, the more people are going to be out there. I've already heard people say they were out there last weekend and there were more people there last weekend than there were last summer.
That's good.
Eyes are better than cameras. You get out there, people, somebody's tearing something up, somebody's spray painting, somebody's going to call it in. And that's just, like I said, as important as cameras. So I think as it goes and more people hear about it and the more people are involved and participating in activities at the park, there's going to be people out there enough. And police, I have been told that they have stepped up patrol out there a lot. And I've been out a couple of times and police officers are out there having lunch, and I was excited about that. They were like, yeah, we just came out to the park to have lunch, and I'm like, I'll do it every day. So that's kind of where we're at. We're on the threshold of some good things, I do believe.